Welcome to the DoubleACS Daily News. As smartphones and mobile technologies have become more prevalent among children and students, schools have begun to enact policies aimed at reducing disruptions to learning while also taking advantage of the opportunities that these technologies provide. Attleboro High School has implemented its own policies, and we spoke with Principal Kate Campbell to learn more.
This is Kate Campbell. We're at Attleboro High School, our new amazing building that we've all entered this school year. Our cell phone policy here is not a new policy. What we are doing, though, is making sure that the cell phone policy, that it's accountable the way it should be. So what we have here at the high school is students, if they're in an academic area, meaning their classroom, an assembly, an X block, those times are when your cell phones are off. We also know that teaching students how to use technology correctly is also teaching and learning, an important tool in life. So students are allowed to check their phones in the hallways. There is 5 minutes between classes that they can check, but as soon as the academic class begins, then cell phones need to be put away. It seems to be working well. We know that this was a shift, I think during COVID, I think during different times, there was more of an emphasis of students being able to have their cell phones available to them. But we come to school to teach and they come to school to learn. So that does need to be the priority. I know that it is a little bit of an adjustment period of getting accustomed to when you can and cannot use your cell phone. But in the cafeteria during lunchtime, you can have your cell phone. You may not take your cell phone into the bathrooms. I walked into a physics class today and they were using cell phones for data collection for an activity that we were doing. So what we had decided as a group earlier in the year before the school started is the teachers would just make sure that they were on the same page. So it's a collective responsibility. So it wouldn't be just a directive from myself as the principal or the administrative team. This came from the staff. This came from the teachers saying we really need to have students engaged and we need them to be focused on the content that we're teaching. So it starts in the classroom. They're the most valuable piece of the work that we do, the classroom teachers. The students were aware in assemblies before we started school on what the expectations were, and we were also clear on what would happen. First, you get a verbal warning. There is a system that's very clear for the students of what happens if you aren't able to follow our expectations. And overall, it's been successful. Our building is broken down to 4 houses. It is the house model here, and so we do have a system in place that if a parent needs to get in touch with their child, what they do is call their house office. It goes directly to where their house clerk, as well as the assistant principal, the guidance counselors, and they would have access to that child within that house. And also, of course, if there are medical expectations for it, they would be having to step out of the class at a certain time. I'm proud of Attleboro High School students. It was not an easy shift. I'm sure that they would prefer to have their cell phones available to them at all times, but I do respect them understanding that there's a reason why that we're asking to really change our practice with this policy.